Hey, everybody. Thanks so much for coming. It's 6:30. We'll give everybody a minute to trickle in. I'm making Mrs. Lalama a co-host so that she can present our her amazing slideshow, PowerPoint that is going to provide a lot of information. Much of it is familiar to you, and some of it is specific to our circumstances with COVID. And I just want to say a couple of things about, sorry, about tonight. We are limiting our meeting. It's going to be an informational meeting. It will be um, hopefully an opportunity for you to learn more about distance learning um, and our in-person learning. You will hear much more about our in-person learning. Why? Because the purpose of our meeting is really to acclimate everybody, but we're very focused on safety. So our in-person is very much, when back before we even talked about things being in person or not in person, safety was always the #1 priority, and that's why teachers spend a lot of time going over protocols. So our distance learners in 10th through 12th grade are equally as valuable, important, and in every way, shape, and form. You will hear a little bit less tonight about that, and you can be assured that we will be having follow-up meetings once we kind of get ourselves stabilized. We'll have online parent meetings only and in-person meeting parents only as well, so that we're a little bit more specific. So we hope to cover both now, and I will turn it over to Mrs. Lalama to get us started.
There we go. Good evening, families and parents and students. Welcome back. Important information for you. Okay. You can hear me okay, correct? You hearing me? Yes, thank you. So school's looking different this year. It's been looking different since March, but we want to begin by saying HMTCA continues to be honorable in our actions, mindful of our diversity, thoughtful towards others, creative in our expression, and ambitious in our scholarly endeavors. Ooh, not our academic endeavors, our scholarly endeavors. Students, I know I just had to say that for you, just because I know you've missed that so much. But we have worked hard. We've had to make a lot of hard decisions. We honor all your decisions, and we worked hard to maintain our 5 values in everything that we've done. So I want to begin by talking to you about our daily school schedule for our in-school, in-person learners and our full distance learners. So I'm going to begin in the middle column there with our 10 through 12th grade students. So right now we have what you see there is a full schedule, Monday through Friday, with Wednesday being an early dismissal. At this time, we have a group A and a group B. However, we are in conversations with district leaders to have our group A and group B students combined to attend in-person learning together, all 10 through 12 students, Monday and Tuesday live, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday distance. So that is pending. If that decision becomes finalized, the students, we will not have groups A and B for our 10 through 12th grade students that are coming into the building. So we will be in communication about that. However, the school day remains the same, 7:30 to 240 for our in-school or our distance learners, okay? Wednesday, every Wednesday, aside from the first week of school, is an early dismissal. So make note of that. That's 11:30 dismissal every Wednesday, except the first week of school.
So I'm going to just jump in really quickly on that note that Mrs. Lama shared related to our hybrid model. The goal for us, you know, in going back to our 5 core values and what we need for, excuse me for 1 second, is that we want to have our students in our in-person get as much access to their teachers and their classes as we can. So that is why we're, you know, exploring and hope to advocate for our 10th through 12th graders coming in on the same 2 days so that they can be online the same 2 days. And since it has not been authorized, it's in that pending mode. So that obviously we don't have a lot of days left for you to get that confirmation. So that will be, I'd like to be able to say you're going to get that confirmation on, you know, tomorrow. But as you have probably picked up, you know, the district has a lot of things that they're managing at the same time. So more to come on that. And I'll turn it back over to Mrs. Lama. I think I may have pressed a mute button for everybody, so you might have to unmute yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. So here's just a snapshot of the first week because this looks a little different. As of right now, our 10th through 12th graders are scheduled to begin on Wednesday, September 9th. And I apologize, that says 7:30 to 11:30 here. I got it, oops, change that. Oops, sorry. That is a full day of school. Wait, that's a full day. I'm sorry, Ms. Goldstein. This is a full day of school and I have it here as half. So that's an error. My apologies. I should have changed that.
Not at all. And in fact, this is a case in point. There's teachers on the line, you know, who are joining us to support what we're sharing. And teachers, we got information after the end of the day that we have a full day on Wednesday. And this is, I just want to give a shout out to all of our teachers, our team leaders, the patience, the grace, the patience and grace that has been provided while different communications have come out has been above and beyond. And I'm sure parents, you can relate to that as well, because you have been incredibly patient and incredibly gracious in the timing, you know, of when you're getting the information. We all wanted to be able to provide it much sooner than you're getting it, and on and on. So it's a full day.
So I apologize for that visual being incorrect. But if we look here on September 16th, that's when our half days on Wednesdays will begin. Okay, so apologies for the 9th. That is a full day. To give you a snapshot of what that first week looks like, our 10 through 12 students are just Wednesday, Thursday. And then everybody begins, that is in school, on the 14th. So the pickup and drop off, there's a change here for our students that are coming to the building. We're asking that all students that are being dropped off to school, if they would please be dropped off in our bus loop. This is a safety measure that we are taking. You can access the bus loop from Brownell Avenue. You can get Brownell Avenue either from Washington Street or from Broad Street. The driveway into the bus loop is up closer to Washington Street. But we ask for the morning for drop-offs. If you're dropping off your student in a car, please use the bus loop that is accessed from Brownell Avenue. During pickup time, that has not changed. We do not want cars in the bus loop in the afternoon. So that stays the same, but with safety in mind, there are cutouts on both Broad Street and Vernon Street for safe car pickups after school. Here's a look. Our daily schedule has not changed. This looks familiar to you 10th through 12th graders, I'm sure. You notice though, at the very top, the doors will not open until 7:20. There will be designated, and I'll talk about that, there'll be designated wait areas outside of the building for each grade group, 6 through 12. Doors open, there'll be grab and go lunch, and then our day begins. Not a lot has changed with our schedule for high school. We still have that trin prep block about 40 minutes long after our first block. Lunch is 2 lunches in high school, and they're both during block 2. This daily schedule is for our in-person and our virtual students. Everybody follows this same schedule. So how will I know my schedule? Mrs. Goldstein, would you like to speak to this one?
Sure, I'll be happy to. So again, and this is when you see how will I know my schedule, and you'll see this earlier tonight we were talking to our 9th graders. So this is a little bit different. So 10th through 12th students, when you come in, we will have your schedules for you. We will have them out similar to how you are used to, but in tables much more broken up by alphabet. And then you will be going into your classes. Distance learners, again, this would apologize for on my part that this is for 9th grade. You will be getting communication regarding a meetup time where we will have like an opening meeting, and we will be going, excuse me for 1 second, where we'll be going over the schedule in my Zoom room. So that won't be at 9 o'clock because that's going to be specific to our 9th grade. And the thing I just want to bring up in this particular moment is, again, both our in-person and our distance learners have equal weight in terms of the standard of the quality of the instruction that we want to bring to you, the attention that we want to share with you, the connection we want to have with you. And as I had said in the beginning, and you guys with the 10th through 12th grade, obviously it's an older group and this isn't as much of a concern, but with COVID being the reason why we're even having this meeting right now in the way that we are, the safety protocols really have to be made crystal clear. So you will see that we're going to spend time in the building providing that guidance, those directives, and you'll see it later on in a slide. And there, our online and distance learners, we will be in touch with you, and we will be up and having momentum very shortly within that first week, and then on track for the second week. So please be patient with us while we kind of get up to speed, but trust me, the curriculum and a lot of the things are going to be very consistent with what you would expect. I will also say that this has come up with some questions, is that the grading practices are going to be back to what you normally have, so that the pass-fail that had been provided was really in response to the unexpected that we had to go through. So we're back on track with our normal grading practices. You'll hear more about that in the upcoming weeks. And Power School will go live as soon as possible. So I would say within the day tomorrow. Sorry. So I'm going to turn that back to Mrs. Lalama to continue and jump in again later.
All righty. So I was talking a little bit about arrival. So please take note. Our 9th and 10th graders are, once you come off either the bus or out of a car or walking, you are going to 9th and 10th grade are going to wait outside in between the Montessori school and HMTCA. And there's some signage there, and there's also some marks in the sidewalk that direct us and remind us to use social distancing. Our 11th and 12th graders will gather under the glass bridge. So those are the designated, and then the 9th and 10th, there's a door there. They will enter the building through that Montessori side door, and the 11th and 12th graders will enter the building under the glass bridge. There is an entryway there. So it's a waiting area, and then it's also where the students will be entering. The doors open at 7:20. They will be, they have an option to have a grab and go breakfast. No hot breakfasts will be served during this time until further notice. And the school day hours, as you saw earlier, has not changed. 7:30 is our start time. So just speaking briefly about our in-person, all of our classes are taught by our HMTCA students. I know that that was a question at one time, but that instruction will be delivered by all HMTCA students. Your in-person learning will follow the 4-block day that you're familiar with, plus our Trin Prep. All classes will have a Google Classroom address, and that's where assignments will be posted, resources will be posted, student work will be passed in, and that's where the classroom content will be housed, whether it's in person or a distance learning classroom. All classrooms will have a Google Classroom site. So students, all our 10 through 12th grade students should have a device. I know there might be some work on that. I'll be talking about that, but those computers will, every time you come to school, you'll bring your computer. Every time you go home, you're going to bring it home. You're responsible for that computer. That's your important tool, as it was for the end of the year. And it needs to be with you, ready to go, charged up, or with your charger. And I would recommend charging it. That's, charging it up for the day when you are coming into school. The class sizes will vary, but we're continuing to work very, very hard to maximize the distance between students in our classrooms. We're going to talk more specifically about the CDC guidelines, but in-person learners will have their masks on at all times. Hand washing throughout the day, hand sanitizers are throughout our hallways and in every classroom. We are encouraging students to start their day and each class by sanitizing their hands. Social distancing is also, we have signage throughout our school to encourage the social distancing, serve as reminders for the social distancing, and also mask breaks will be provided throughout the day. For online students, also very pleased to say the majority of our classes are taught by HMTCA students. In our 10 through 12, I'm going to let Ms. Brahman speak for a minute. For our virtual learners who have opted for an advanced placement, an AP class, those will be provided to you through virtual high school. And I'm going to let Ms. Brahman speak for a minute on that.
Hi, everyone. So the VHS piece is an interesting one because it can fill into many little cracks that we might have. So students that are taking a VHS course, particularly the APs, they're going to be facilitated through my lab if you are in person. If you are fully distanced or remote learning, then I will be touching base with you at least once a week, checking in and seeing how everyone's doing. The course registration is going to take place next week. it's going to be a crazy week for everybody. So we're just going to pile that on to everybody else's list. And I'm going to probably do some Zoom meetings with the parents and students as well to get you started. And you're going to run with a normal schedule like you typically would. It would be entered into your day like your other classes are. You'll be logging in. I check your activity levels and make sure everything's going great. I can help the students communicating with their teacher if they need the assistance with it, or I can speak to the parents and the teachers and go from there. It's usually a watch and see how it begins, see how everyone's doing after an orientation, and off you go, basically.
Thank you. And I do want to add that Ms. Brahman has facilitated AP virtual high school courses in the past with success. They're hard, they're challenging classes, they're advanced classes, but we have had students take AP classes virtually before, and we're pleased to say that we're impressed with the quality instruction and preparing the student for the AP exams, which are given in May. So we have had some experience with that before, and I think that that gives us a good feeling, and I hope it gives you the same security of a high quality AP class for your learner.
And I just want to jump in real briefly about that and just, echo what Ms. Brahman and Mrs. Alama shared, and also provide reassurance. Many schools, oh, excuse me, 1 second. Many schools in smaller districts rely on virtual high school to provide advanced placement programming and also classes that they cannot supply that they want to be able to, but don't have enough of a demand for a teacher, or in some cases are located in a place where they cannot access a teacher. So the district has been very supportive and happy to hear that we're able to do this way. I think that what our next goal, and I'm sorry if Ms. Brahman already had shared this, but the students, the HMTCA students will be assigned to the same AP class on virtual high school. That is the goal, so that they're still a cohort, maybe within a group that has students from other places, but that's a nice feature. So I don't know, Ms. Brahman, if I've given inaccurate information or you wanted to add or correct.
Yeah, that is accurate. That definitely is accurate. I'm still waiting for the final list of the students that are going to be taking each AP course. Once that happens and I can do an orientation Zoom with the parents and students, I can then create their accounts and get those requests put into VHS so that our students can be bulked together and still have that kind of an experience along with other students from possibly other parts of the world.
So I am aware that this is a private chat tonight, partly because of efficiency. I'm trying to respond to individual questions, and then ones that are coming up that are for everybody, I want to share out. So I want to say a couple of things. So the student who is taking an AP class who's an in-person learner will receive their instruction through the HMTCA teacher who teaches the AP class. Our students who are full distance learners will be participating in their AP classes through the virtual high school. So that's how we were able to designate that. The other thing is that we will have, stay tuned, because whether you're a distance learner or not, you need textbooks where there are textbooks.
¿Y será seguro para los estudiantes ir para la escuela?
So we will have a distribution day where you can come to get the textbooks that are needed for the classes. We're waiting for one subject to come in, and then you will hear more about that. And that's it for me.
Alrighty, so just to continue on this slide, our virtual distance learners will follow the regular school schedule as our in-school learners. All your coursework is going to be located on Google Classroom, and we're going to get those addresses to you. And teachers are going to meet you on those in those Google Classrooms and direct you to Google Meet. Google Meet is the online face-to-face tool that we will be using, the Hartford District will be using for our distance learners. And that's where the teacher can provide that live instruction. So technology, it is going to be a vital tool for all of our high school students. As I said, they will be using their laptops daily, and they need to be bringing them back and forth to school. During the first couple weeks of school, we're going to be doing computer checks and getting everybody what they need and making sure that they're able to make the connections that they do need. So this is directed to our in-school families, and the protocols that we have worked very hard in the school to create, communicate, and now, introduce and maintain. So the expectation for all of our students is to wear a face mask at all times, unless they're on a, supervised planned break with their teacher in their class. The planned mask breaks typically take place outside. To wear their personal protective equipment that is appropriate for school. And we're looking for masks that are solid in color or have a pattern on them. We really do not want any distracting symbols, logos, words, saying, however inspirational. We do please ask that the students' masks be solid or a pattern. We will encourage our students and model ourselves to adhere to the 6 feet social distance as much as possible. There are arrows and signs throughout our building that do clearly mark a traffic pattern. We have one-way hallways, and we do expect all students to be mindful of their personal space and of the traffic patterns throughout the school. We're going to have fun with it. We're all going to help each other go the right way. These are very serious times, but we're also want to keep things light with our students in following, but doing it in a way that we're all on board with it, and we need our students on board with it. And then that last item, it is the students' responsibility to make sure they have their masks with them, to maintain them, take care of them, and mind them when they're off. Keep mine right close by when I don't have it on. And that's the expectation of our learners also. Certainly soap and water in our bathrooms, and many of our classrooms have sinks in them, not as many as our high school ones, unfortunately, but we do have signs and encouraging students to wash their hands frequently, and particularly if they're dealing with any nose blowing, coughing, or sneezing. Take that break and get some soap and water. There is hand sanitizer throughout our hallways and in every classroom. We would ask all students to, as they enter the classroom, to use their hand sanitizer before learning and when they enter the building. All right, so you students don't need to know who your counselor is. Your counselor has not changed. The wonderful Miss Kaiser and the fabulous Miss Tamburo are back for another year. You'll notice a change in our team leaders. Miss Sharp, are you with us?
I think she had to take another call.
Okay, very good. All right, so Miss Brahman is still with us, and Miss Kaiser has come on board as a team leader for our high school learners. You'll take a look at our department learners. These are our content leaders. If you have a particular concern, and parents and students, about English in general, English classes, Mr. Tatum is the department lead there. And so here are the names of our department leaders of our content. This is familiar, students. These basic things have not changed, right? Following routines and directions, which now does include the COVID Code of Conduct. You as in-student learners have chosen to come back. We're welcoming you with open arms. Well, 6 feet distance, open arms. Maintain your space. You know what that means, and now more than ever. And we just continue. We just speak kindly and politely to one another. That's a continue our core expectations. Unfortunately, due to COVID, we cannot offer students lockers this year. So we're kind of disappointed about that too. So that means that that backpack of yours is going to carry all your school tools for the day. Nothing more. Let's keep it to school stuff that you're carting back and forth, because you're going to have your computer in there. So when you're shopping for your book bag, you might want to consider that. You want to have a nice slot for your computer if possible, so it does stay protected. That now you have this important, valuable tool, part of your book bag, and you'll be carting those things around. So be mindful of that. And our dress code has also not changed. And just as it says there, it's all about looking your best. You look your best here at school. What is required is the button-down Oxford with the HMTCA emblem, our school pants. We are continue to discourage the cargo pants, but we are looking for a professional look. And then we have some options for you on those when the weather gets colder. You're not unfamiliar with this. We've had our challenges with uniforms. The uniform policy has not changed.
Right. We did add the quarter zip though.
Yes, you can notice, and yeah, and that's that's something that, a little bit more casual. Mrs. Lawama is modeling one right now. So we do want to, little by little, we do want to keep plenty of options available, especially when the weather gets colder and students do want to put on another layer. But the school shirt and school pants are the required. The sweaters and fleeces are optional. And I do want to mention, we collected hundreds of gently used school shirts, high school shirts, which we had professionally laundered, and they will be on sale tomorrow for $1 a shirt, with a limit, of 2 shirts per student. So to have a couple backups, it's great. You want your brand new sparkling crisp shirts, but it's also good to have a few backups, and you can't beat $1. And we have loads of them for sale. So please keep that in mind. You're all well aware of our phone.
What time was that again?
All well aware of our phone policy. I would, high school students carry it with them. It is their responsibility to follow, and this is a growing responsibility. We want students, high school students, to have their devices on them. We as adults are never far from our devices, but we are also teaching them when it's appropriate to have them out and functioning, and when it's not appropriate to have them out and functioning, right? So that's a teacher directed inside the classroom. I encourage kids, put it on do not disturb. Then you don't have to worry about the vibrates and the beeps and the whistles during your learning time. So that's something that we continually work and encourage students to use their phones appropriately here in school. And we are not responsible for lost or stolen items. It is not anything that's mandatory that they bring to school. To have a phone is not mandatory for them, and we just ask students to please be very vigilant with their devices. All right, so we want to provide our seniors with their student center privilege for eating lunch. That it will continue to be a senior-only option. Masks entering the cafeteria must be on when you're getting your food, and then they are removed. Of course, you can't eat with your mask on. So they are removed once students are eating. I do want to let you know we have fewer tables in our cafeteria because we're going to have fewer students at one time in there. Right now, for our high school, we're looking a maximum of 4 students at a table. So we are very pleased to be able to have some distancing during lunchtime. So we would ask, which is new for our high school, guys, I need you to come in and sit down. And I know you're not used to doing that, but that's got to be our new routine now, and not like all bunched up like we normally have done. So we just want it to run smoothly. So just be prepared. You're going to walk in and you're going to sit down at a table. We'll call you by tables like back in middle school day, but you know this has to be part of our safety protocol. Lunches with teachers are still okay, and you know you got to get a pass for that. And then you're responsible, you're going to stay, and the garbage will come around to you. So not a lot of changes there. It's just more or less going in and sitting down. Service learning remains the same. We're asking for about 15 hours a year. And so if you are in your junior year and you have not started earning your high school service learning, now's as good a time as any, right? We still hold you responsible for your 60 hours of service learning. I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Leonard, who has some very important information regarding athletics. Mr. Leonard?
Good evening, all. As I'm sure you've heard on the news, the high school season and the CIAC is going to move forward this fall. In the fall, we offer 5 sports. Football, which is a co-op with SMSA in Buckley, boys and girls soccer, boys and girls cross country, girls volleyball, and girls swimming with Buckley. The nice part about the girls swimming with Buckley is in the past they had to go over to Buckley High School to use their pool. However, with Buckley being under construction, girls swimming will take place at our building this year. So you don't need to switch high schools at the end of the school day. My telephone number is up there. 860-695-7308. Please feel free to give me a call if you have any questions after the presentation, or you can drop me an email. Go ahead, Mrs. Lalama. Everyone must sign up on Privet before they can participate in sports. Privet is the same online system that we've used the past few years. In the near future, we will be switching to a new online registration system. However, Privet is what we're going to go with in the fall due to the current situation with what's going on. If you forgot your username or you forgot your password, please do not create a new account. Call the 1-800 number that's on the Privet how-to guide. They will help you reset your password or inform you which email address you decided to use. Please remember that everyone must be cleared by the nurse to participate in sports, and to be cleared by the nurse, you have to have an updated physical on file in the nurse's office. Nothing has changed there. The only thing the CIAC is allowing this year, and the State Department of Health is allowing this year, is instead of having your physical being good for 13 months, it is now good for 15 months, because with all the doctor's offices closed and stuff, they're giving you a 2 extra month grace period. So please check the dates on those physicals. If you want to email them to me, email them directly to the nurse, Nancy Smith, or just drop them off at school. We'll make sure she gets them so she can start clearing athletes, which she has already started doing on Privet. High school sports are open to everyone who attend HMTCA. If you're a distance learner, you're allowed to participate and try out. If you're one of the hybrid students, you're allowed to try out and participate. There are just a few differences. If you're the hybrid 10 through 12, you must be in school on your school days. You must attend your classes to participate. You can change in school if you are in school. If you're at home learning, we expect you to come to practice and games dressed, ready to go. You will not be allowed to enter the school building unless you have to be on the volleyball team and they're playing in the gym. Okay? Parents may drive you. Excuse me. Parents may drive the hybrid students to and from away games, or they may be dropped off at school and can ride the team bus. Okay? Just remember, if it is a day you are at home, you are not allowed to enter the school building. For our distance learners, Your parents have to provide transportation to and from games and to and from practices. They are not allowed to ride the team transportation, the school bus, and they are not allowed to enter the school building at all. So they will be dropped off at practice and picked up at practice outside. I know it's a little confusing, but if you have any questions, again, please feel free to give me a call or shoot me an email. Go ahead, Mrs. Lama, please. Here's a list of all of our soccer or fall coaches. If you do have a cell phone that you're not using right now, please feel free to take it out. We are asking that you email your respective coach and tell them you're interested in playing so they have a heads up. So Jason Smith is boys soccer, Jeff Kramer is girls soccer, Katie Canary is girls volleyball, James Bengiovanni is cross country, Kevin Quinn is football, and Juan Dominguez is girls swimming. Again, please email those coaches, tell them what school you're from, especially if it's a co-op of football and swimming, and that you're interested in participating. We are hoping to start sports at the end of next week or early the following week. As soon as we have a start date, we will send out a robocall and we will let all the students know. Thank you,
So
Mrs.
friendly
Walama.
tip is to take a picture of this screen.
Yes,
Just in case.
yes, please
you
do.
have contact.
Thank you, Mr. Leonard.
You're welcome.
So that concludes our slides with information about back to school. I hope that that addressed many of the questions that were swirling in your head. And I know that there is still one swirling that we will have to follow up and give you a definitive answer regarding our hybrid schedule. So I don't know if there was any other questions in the chat or anything that needed to be put in the chat for anybody. Oh, yes,
yeah.
I do.
What's
Yeah, just see the 10 to 1 for the uniform sale and also device sign outs for students who do not currently have a device loaned out by the Hartford Public Schools. Okay, there is a survey. So there is a link to that survey. Oh, I'm sorry. It's the Privet survey. I'm sorry. I misspoke.
Oh, no, I can get that on the chat real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, I am seeing some questions coming in, and then we can have people unmute if you want to just jump in with a question and probably give it an extra 5 minutes. What was I going to say? Oh, so one is related to one question about personal devices. If you have a personal device, you absolutely can use your personal device. If you do not have a district loaned device, you are invited to sign one out. Regarding our arts department, the arts are not canceled. They are going to be very different. So I can't speak to specific things such as theater, band, and choir, because the teachers themselves have also just gotten the information and the guidelines for that. So I encourage you to reach out to Mrs. Van Dyne if you have specific theater questions. But we're looking forward to supporting that growth and development of our students in the arts. Hybrid learning, I am going to just try verbally to talk a little bit about it. Maybe we could put the hybrid slide back up,
Sure.
because you know how when you give directions to someone and they're like, how do you get somewhere? And you just kind of like, you don't remember the street names because you've just driven it so many times. That's kind of what's happening to us in our scheduling endeavors, because we are constantly in communication about this with the district. So what this is specific to our in-person, what we figured out is that if you're an online learner, you follow your schedule and you follow a day 1, day 2 schedule, which means that you have your classes on Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday. Your teacher will let you know how they're going to handle that, probably with office hours, but that's going to be up to them, and they'll let you know. And then you go again on Thursday and Friday. And so for hybrid, if we follow what you're seeing on this slide, it's the way it's the way it may work out. And the challenge is that your student will go and see their teacher once in person, whether that's like if it's a day one, a Monday or a Thursday, in which case you will find out what that is as soon as we have authorization or not. And then the online is a little bit trickier because teachers are really beholden to their in-person students, similar to safety issues, supervision, what have you. So the way that the online instruction will become a little bit, in the beginning, especially a little bit bumpy, but it'll work out. So when we learned that it could be an option to group our kids into one group, so that all of our hybrid students come in on Monday and Tuesday, and then they're online together on Thursday and Friday, we really all agreed as a team of educators, that that's desirable to us, so that there's consistency and more time with teachers, either in person or online. So that's the logic behind that. So we are very much hoping to be able to tell you obviously by the end of the week, the answer to our request that all of our hybrid in-person students will be attending on Monday and Tuesday. And if they are not, then as you can see, it's based on your counselor, and your group will go that way. So, and again, you'll get this in writing, and we'll be on call for that. So I did want to share that. Distance learners, similar to in-person learners, Power School is going to go live. I am not the person that has to complete the schedule, so I cannot make a promise that I won't be able to keep, but they're getting that together as we speak. And once that schedule goes live, whether you're in person or distance, that's your schedule. And then we will have ways, if you can't access it that way, we'll have paper copies and other ways to help you with that. We have a request to see the first 2 week schedule, Mrs. Lalama. So if you have that slide, we could throw that up there. And then the only correction is that the first week is all full days.
Mrs. Goldstein, I don't know if you covered this or not, but can students bring their own computers?
Oh, thanks for bringing that up. That has been brought up in a couple of individual questions. Absolutely, students can bring their own laptops. If you don't have one and you're looking to get one, a Chromebook is a great thing. It does it. Everything is based on the web and the cloud. So, but you will need to have that in your class and obviously at home. The thing about 10th to 12th grade is that you guys, first of all, like, you totally have this. A lot of what we're saying is more as adults, that we just kind of need to hear ourselves share that with you. Once you get in your classes, even if you're a distance learner, you kind of have, you know how that works a lot better. You're going to have more live instruction with your teachers this year than you had last year. So you'll have more contact and access to your teachers. Unfortunately, day starts at 7:30, so you got to be kind of up and ready to go. But that's your teachers, just similar to how it will work in college when you go to college, are really going to be the drivers of how things work. So we're giving you sort of the overall gist, and we will obviously have a Zoom-based back to school night, and we will designate in-person and distance learning time only, so that we're not kind of speaking to the larger group. So the distance learners attend the way they normally would. A distance learner has a day 1, day 2, Wednesday, your teacher will let you know, and then Thursday is day 1 and day 2, Thursday, Friday. So there's not a B or A group, it's just a regular schedule. All right, so I'm still seeing, I'm trying to answer the question. I think I've said it, I've tried to say it clearly. Maybe I haven't been doing it out loud. Power School, when Power School goes live, your students know this. When Power School goes live, they'll get to see their schedule. And Power School will go live when the counselors are ready to make it go live, which is probably at their as early as they can. So I can't make a promise. I would say we're looking for tomorrow to be the day. So that's that plan. And we will have instructions for you via our email about logging into a first sort of whole group time for our distance learners to help kind of answer any questions. And we'll have a bunch of people on hand the way we did when we went into remote learning last year. I think I'm going to say that's it for now. And there are going to still be questions that you have. I will type some of the answers to a chat in the next couple minutes, and then I think we're going to be good to go. Does anyone, are there any other questions for the whole group?
Just, excuse me, just about bus stops, it's my understanding that the families will hear from CREC. So you should receive a phone call or correspondence. I think they usually call and or email with the bus routes, because sometimes the bus stops change. I don't know if the bus stops are the same, but that you would find out through CREC transportation. Yeah.
Another good question. And you know what, you're going to come up with other really great questions as soon as we hang up, and I'm going to think of something, and Mrs. Lalama is going to think of something like, oh, we could have mentioned this. We really tried. So, you know, a lot of students, and I'm just going to say this, at other schools don't have the kind of lockers that we have at HMTCA. So carrying a backpack throughout the day, unfortunately, is the norm for a lot of high school kids across the country. And it just kind of becomes a habit for them. So there's not going to be alternate settings for the backpacks. The students will have their backpacks with them, and it'll take some adjusting, you know, to sort of see what's needed. Again, for our hybrid kids, they're coming 2 days a week. So that's kind of the bright side to it, that we're not talking about the 5-day-a-week schlepping of the backpacks. So the related final great questions about COVID protocols. COVID protocols are actually not easy to share because they're very simple, and they're simple because they're very individual. So in the event that a student has a symptom that is related to COVID, that they go to the nurse for, this is one of those things we're going to wish we had shared at the earlier meeting, and we'll share tomorrow with our middle school. We may be sending more kids home with a normal cold was something that we all muscled through. Now that may add up to symptoms that the nurse needs to call home, and we're going to need parents to actually come up to get their student when that happens. That's going to be different. Anything else that's specific to a student with COVID, suspicion, contact, anything is so individual that what I'm sharing with you, you would hear throughout the district. That annoying answer, it depends. So we just ask for you to have faith in our district level COVID response team. Our school has a COVID response team. We'll be meeting regularly. We'll be debriefing. We'll be communicating. And our communication to the school, anything related to COVID, is really going to come from our district. So we're not in a position to make determinations about what's best for that kind of communication. So we're going to be a team together the way we always have been. And we're going to, so a lot of it is going to be dependent upon our circumstances. And the last thing I will answer, and then I think we need to go head out, is that SATs, unless we have a counselor or Mrs. Lalama who also helps with SATs, stand by for that information. Unless Mrs. Lalama, do you know anything?
I'm sorry, I was typing, I was distracted with the chat. Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. Just a quick final question about SATs this year. I said stay tuned.
I know, I'm drawing a blank. I apologize. I apologize. We'll have to, I don't want to give information that I'm not 100% sure about. So I'm apologize. I'm going to have to get back to you on that. I can't retrieve that information right now.
So thank you all for always, I always am grateful for one, just choosing HMTCA to be your school. Know that it's still just us. Even if your child has, or your student has chosen the online learning, we will be in touch with you. We will, if they're in, like I said, picking devices and things up, that will be an option. We will be in more touch this year, the way we were last spring, than we normally are. So this is just kind of a continuation, and I think we will say again, thank you, and we cannot wait to see your students online and in person next week. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Good night. Thanks, Mrs. Lalama.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.